Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. Back in the virtual studios, of course, the talent, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Yeah, it's fighting that good fight, buddy. Fuck yeah. Oh, goddamn dog almost died.
Yeah, I saw that. I was a little scared.
Yeah, dude, that fucking bitch was fucking smelling colors, dude. Like, she consumed 11,200 milligrams of caffeine, which is equivalent to 118 cups of coffee. She ate 70 pre-workout gummies, and dude, we got home and she was off the fucking walls. Yeah, that poor girl, dude. I've done a lot of fucking blow in my life, and I've never been that high. Like, that dog was struggling. Her heart rate was 240. It's supposed to be 110. So, yeah, they had to fucking sedate her, put her on beta blockers, threw up all over the back of my Jeep. Of course, it was on a fucking Sunday, so I had to take her all the way to Reno. None of the local vets had anybody overnight. So yeah, $4,000 later, she's alive and well.
So what the hell is a pre-workout gummy?
Dude, these fucking I'm not getting paid for any of this, but Bounce Nutrition has these gummies for pre-workout. 2 of them's equivalent to 1 scoop of pre-workout. Dude, no niacin on these things. I think because it's in the gummy form, it's a more sustained energy. It's not like a huge spike and then crash afterwards. Still get the great pump from it and everything. Dude, they're fucking awesome. Just don't let your dog get a hold of them. But
because she ate basically the whole bag.
It was a brand new bottle. I had just picked it up from the mailbox, put it in my backpack. She managed to dig through. She got the zipper open, got to the gummies, and ate the entire can of them. But yeah, for workouts, they're great. Dogs, not so much.
Yeah. So is she more jacked now?
Yeah. No, dude, she lost so much weight.
I bet.
She had constant diarrhea for like 2 days. It was just like leaking out of her butthole. And yeah, that poor girl, dude, like she was so exhausted after that. But she's back to normal now. But, she was fucked up for a good 4 or 5 days. Well, at least she's not dead.
Is she ready to wrestle? Because I'm coming to stay with you guys.
Yeah, right. Oh, she's so excited to see fucking Aunt Josh.
Aunt Josh. Yeah. It makes me laugh. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being there.
Yeah.
You guys got some team members that I never met, don't know, and I'm flying in to do some operations and leadership training, and I'm looking forward to that. Of course, Zach and Becca attend our boot camp. They participate, always ask amazing questions. And in representing Battleborn, Zach especially has really good examples of what to do and what not to do. So he's always willing to share, which is greatly appreciated. But I love seeing him in there.
Yeah.
And, they both attend. So they were in there this past week, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in person and getting some training on and getting my leadership on. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, fucking revisit the old stomping grounds.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I think my first stop out of the airport's going to be the cigar shop. They keep my favorite cigars in stock up there. So I'll stop and grab a couple of those and then head down south into the valley and come see you guys and get to see Matt and Becca, of course. And it's gonna be a good trip. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, dude, never pass up an opportunity to get some work done while you're vacationing.
That's how I like to work, so fine with me.
Yeah.
But one of you hit me with something the other day, and you said, "Hey, let's have a conversation about working smarter, not harder." And this is one of those phrases that I think gets tossed around for the sake of being said. Oh, you got to work smarter, not harder. And, obviously let's dive into it, but I'm immediately out of the gate. I think that it's important for people to know that you have to work smarter and harder.
Yeah. Those things are harmonious. Yeah. And it's, we all want to work harder. We all, like, naturally in the trades, your first instinct is going to be to work harder. And a lot of innovation just naturally arises that way. Because you can start working smarter just by working harder. You know, you spend enough time elbows deep in something and you're going to find better ways to do it. Because you're just naturally going to get tired of how long it's taking for mundane tasks, right? So I think on the tool, I guess the real conversation I want to have is, what does working harder and smarter look like on a business scale as opposed to being on the tools?
Mm-hmm.
Because working harder and smarter on the tools is fucking, that's creating whatever operational systems that you have. That's developing new tooling. That is, your communication with foremans and contractors and stuff like that. That's working smarter on the tools. Now, working smarter on a business scale, I find that comes into development of your people. What I find my job to be most nowadays is finding what people are good at and elevating them in those positions to take workloads off of what I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I did listen to you and Greg's conversation about buy back your time. And like, I got so much out of that book, and like, you guys basically had the same conversation that you and I would have had over the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm coming to realize, is that like, my working smarter is in developing other people when it comes to being a business owner. Like, all the stuff that I do that is high level executive shit. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Like, I do have to work smarter, but I have to work smarter in how I communicate with people. The working harder part is developing my people and having a matrimony of those two things, the integration of the people that I deal with on an executive side and the correlation of that to the people that work on my operation side. Understanding that whole dichotomy and integrating those things together has been this like real eye-opener lately, of like, there's some shit on my plate on an executive level that I'm starting to realize doesn't need to be on my plate as well. And that is, my superintendent needs to be dealing with project managers. After the job's sold and it's underway and it's on an operational scale, I don't need to fucking deal with that anymore. Even if it's fucking change orders, RFIs, submittals, shit like that. If I've already done all the preliminary shit and the job is broken ground, I do not need to fuck with that. And so it comes to elevating Zach, and dude, Zach stepped up to the fucking plate on all this shit too. Like, I hear the phone conversation. He's got a desk in my office now, and I get to hear all the fucking conversations that are had. And he's doing a really fucking good job, and it's because we've worked with him for the last fucking year, and he's shown that he wants more, and so we've capitalized on that opportunity. And dude, he's fucking doing a great job at really stepping up to the plate and being analytical about what he's doing, seeing what works and what doesn't. And so I find that being my work smart right now is people development.
Mm-hmm. The aspect of pouring into your team, and not just from a leadership perspective, but from an operational excellence perspective, the common thing for us to do is to help people do their job. And it's like, hey, well, I'm going to help you do your job, or I'm going to do your job until you get good enough to do the job. And the smarter way to do that is, how can I just help you do your job? Not help you do the job. How can I help you,
right,
to where you can do the job? Because now your focus is not on the job, it is on the person, like you're talking about. And so that shift, and that's one of the shifts that is very difficult for us that have come up from the ground level up, building the business. We've done all the jobs, we understand every aspect of it, and we start to hand some of these things off, and we stay too involved in how they are doing their job. And that's what I mean. It's like, you don't need to be involved during the process of how they're doing their job. You need to be involved in them to make them better at creating the process of how to do that job.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very difficult shift. That's a very difficult mindset shift for people to make, because you have to stop thinking like a technician, and you have to start thinking like an owner, and then you have to start thinking like a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of growth to unpack in that parallel of being able to pour into your people. The thing that I have learned, and this is probably a big mantra for Greg and I this year, is, and I heard this from Alex Hermosi: bet on the jockey, not the horse. So we that gets brought up in a conversation with me and him multiple times a week, because as we are looking at creating these positions and building this business, and we're in the middle of an acquisition right now, as we're looking at this, we're looking at it and going, who's our jockey? Like, we're going to bet on the jockey, not the horse. Okay, so who is the best fit for this? Who's going to complement this position? And it's not a perfect process. We already fucked it up. Literally, we screwed it up. We had somebody come in, we onboarded them, and now we've got to let them go because they interviewed well and onboarded. It was a fucking train wreck. The train wreck. And that happens. And the reason I'm sharing that, Nate, is because I don't want anyone to think that I have perfected these processes.
Yeah, we don't even have a fucking 500 batting average with this shit, you know? Like, I don't even think we hit 50%, you know? And that's a fucking tough thing to be able to back yourself off of when you go through all this training and coaching and all this stuff. You're like, all right, I have it figured out. And it's like, okay, the application of all this stuff is the most difficult part of it, you know? And because we've been doing this actively for 5 fucking years, and I still fuck this shit up all the time. And then I'll remember something from a podcast many moons ago, and I'm like, no, we did talk about that already, you know? But, and I think that when you start to set this stuff up to where you're not a buffer between the business and the people, that, because we've run this business that way for a long time. It was like we were the gatekeepers of the information. Once we became more permeable and the information is more accessible, once we realized that our presence wasn't the thing that was going to make the company great, it was elevating all the other people, and like you're saying, putting the right people in the right spot. That was a fucking huge awakening.
Mm-hmm.
When I started to let go of the reins and get the fuck out of the way, great things started happening, you know? But there was also that investment up front of training up the people and onboarding people the right way. Because, I mean, dude, even at least you were able to catch it in the onboarding process.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not fucking 6 months into whatever investments you've made into that person. I mean, that's what the onboarding process is there for, right? So the system still worked, whether or not you fucked up in the interviewing process. The system still caught it early, right? Mm-hmm. That is working smart right there.
Mm-hmm. And it's never a good thing to have to let somebody go. And the onboarding process is not meant to be a gauntlet. But if you just screw up that bad in the onboarding process, we know this is not the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And being smart enough to recognize that it has nothing to do with the person as an individual. It has everything to do with how well that individual complements the position.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they interviewed well, but when it came to performance, everything was lacking. And, you know, for me, attendance and punctuality is really scrutinized in the onboarding process.
Oh yeah.
It's 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fuck this up.
Right.
And they did. And it's been, so it was just, you know, multiple things that certain things in performance you can't catch in an interview process. But you're right. We caught it in the onboarding, and we had a leadership meeting. And, for me, I was honestly like, okay, we know what decision needs to be made. Mm-hmm. Explain to me how you're going to make it. And that was the conversation. Mm-hmm. Because the leader needed to handle it.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's working smarter right there. Letting your leadership handle the shit that they're supposed to fucking handle.
Yeah. It's easy to shield our team from hard times, from hard decisions, from consequences, from difficulties, because as the business owner, we want to absorb that. And if you are a good leader, you want to protect your team from that. The reality is you're protecting them from growth. And they need to experience the pain and the discomfort, and they need to know how to have those conversations and empower them to a point where, let's take Battleborn, for example. Like if I was looking at Battleborn and I was having a conversation with Zach, I would say, look, other than Becca or the 2 or 3 foremans, I said, other than them, you can fire anybody without my permission. Mm-hmm. I want an explanation, but without my permission. When it comes to the other leaders, mm-hmm. that's a conversation that we have to have together. So, okay. Right. That way, if he came in and was like, hey, we just hired Josh and he's been here a couple months, and he's like, dude, he's just not cutting it up. Again, process, but smart. It's like, all right, did you have conversations? Have you coached him up? What's the issue? Mm-hmm. Because the other side of that is, and we don't have to turn this into a hire fire conversation, but if you come to me and you're like, hey, I fired Nate, I'm going to look at it and go, okay, like walk me through why you made that decision. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start asking you questions. Okay, well, what did you do to help them solve that problem? What did you do to help them get better? What did you do to help them understand how they need to improve punctuality? How did you coach them over the last 30, 60, 90 days to pour into that individual? Mm-hmm. Well, I just told them that they need to be here on time. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, so what's done is done, but we need to understand how you should lead. Mm-hmm. So we just don't fire too quickly or emotionally moving forward. Mm-hmm. But again, in this example, it's like, I don't need to spend my time. This isn't something I need to be in the way of. Ultimately is what I'm getting at.
I mean, even dude, on the hiring scale, we haven't really hired anybody new. But I mean, we've interviewed a couple of people just because they were available. There was some big manufacturing shit that shut down. So there was a bunch of people, poking around looking for jobs. And I was like, Zach, it's balls in your court, dude. I'm like, you handle the interviews. I'll be involved in the second or third interview, mm-hmm. but like you weed them out in the beginning, and you fucking take care of that part. They're essentially, I lead you and Becca. You lead your foremans lead those people. So I'm going to put that, I don't need to be involved in that decision, honestly, because you're the one that has to deal with them. Mm-hmm. Don't bring in some fucking serial rapist or fucking something like that, But we still need to, I need to back off of that, mm-hmm. And if things are getting done on an operational scale, they're getting done right, they're getting done on time, why do I need to be involved mm-hmm. in that? I'll step in if need be, and I want to have the final say on whether or not somebody comes in, but I don't need to fucking interview with, dude, the last round of interviews we did through Indeed, dude, the fucking absolute slapdicks that I had to fucking stare at across my desk. And I'm like, this isn't a good usage of my time right now. Mm-hmm. Like, somebody else could have fucking watched that dude. Becca could have watched some of these guys walk through the door and go, no, and just from how they showed up, and it's like, okay, well, because everybody knows the standard here. It's very, that dude, and everybody holds the standard, and so it's like, okay, well then, do I need to be a part of this operation? Mm-hmm. And I 100% agree with you on that.
Also, when it comes to working smarter, and this has everything to do with what me and the way I think is, we have to employ technology.
Dude, yes.
I know the changes that you guys have made over the last few months with JobTread and your blueprint software. I can't remember the name of it, Stacked, and employing that technology and what that has done for you guys to work smarter has been astronomical. The ROI on that, I know, has been huge.
Oh, dude, the estimating goes so much faster now. It's so much more clear instead of having to rifle through fucking plans pages and shit like that. And it's like, we're all doing it the same way now. Like I've been training up Becca on how to do takeoffs and stuff like that. And she's been fucking killing it. And she honestly utilizes the software so much better than I do, but just cleaning that up, like not even, we essentially cleaned up our system for operations on estimating. And that was fucking, dude, it eliminated like probably 50% of the time that it takes to work on a bid set, and it's not a lot of umming and on, everything's staring you directly in the fucking face, and like, you don't even have to try to work smarter at that point. It's doing it for you. You just had to make the decision to utilize the shit. Dude, we spend so much goddamn money on software. Like between QuickBooks, JobTread, Stacked, SketchUp, like we spend a lot of fucking money on software, but the amount of time it fucking saves us, it's fucking worth every goddamn penny.
Well, you immediately saved what, $2,000 a month in having prints printed?
Yeah, plans printed. I only print them now if we land a job, but even that I don't even really need to do because I put iPads in all the trucks. So all the foremans have access to every fucking file that Battleborn Welding has. There's nothing in there that they don't know about. So like, I don't even need paper fucking plans anymore, which has been kind of nice until they fucking drop a goddamn iPad somewhere and I'm like, do you not have a case on the fucking thing? They're like, well, no. Okay, well, we're gonna get you a new one and put the goddamn case on it, but construction's a rough industry for technology, but
it is.
There's ways around it.
How much has transparency helped?
Oh, transparency is the groundwork for innovation. And getting more people involved in what is actually going on, and not everybody, but getting the right people involved in it. Like Zach and Becca both have brought shit to me that I didn't even know was a concern. And then they brought me solutions to those concerns and have greatly helped our operation that way. And if I wasn't as transparent as I was, nobody would have caught the shit. And I really believe that transparency is your greatest form of working smarter because now you have more people integrated into the solutions process.
That's why I asked that question, because I completely agree with that statement. I think transparency is one of the smartest things that you can do. It also is going to help you understand where you need to educate and level up your team. And if you've got people that are making decisions, right, based on the responsibilities that they have with the authority equivalent, they have to have transparency. Otherwise, they can't make the right decision.
They can't help you out with what they don't know.
Exactly. And if you're filtering that information, they can only make decisions based on the information that you're giving them. So it's not smart to limit those factors because you're limiting their decision-making skills, their ability to solve the real problem. And then when they come up with a decision, you're like, well, that didn't work. Well, it did based on what you give me. So that was definitely a loaded question, but that transparency in the decision makers in your company, and that transparency can be filtered through them. Like, again, I think that the transparency has to be relevant, but it's still relevant. And so I think that it's just so important. People get so protective and they're like, they're afraid they're going to share secrets. There are no secrets. You don't know anything about your business and your industry that everybody else don't fucking know. There's no fucking secret. Unless you're embezzling money and you're stealing from the company, there's no secret.
Right.
So stop pretending like you have the holy grail of operations in your shitty company, and then you're bitching about your team's inability to make a decision. Like, that's stupid.
It is. It is. And I mean, there is, like, if you're going to be transparent with people, you got to make sure you got the right people in your corner, because when I make a decision that they don't agree with, they still trust my decision. Whether that goes right or wrong, it's not like I get motherfucked over it or high praises for it. But at the end of the day, they're like, okay, well, if that's how you want to execute it, and we have a lot of open conversations about things inside this office. It's me, Becca, and Zach in here. And I mean, dude, fucking even Becca, she jumps in on like even disciplinary conversations that we have. And she's be like, hey, you fucking did this and it made my company look this way, and that's the way she sees it. Like, she's a representation of this company. And she's like, your behavior put a smear on this on the reputation of this company. And it's like, whoa, shit.
Get him.
Yeah. Yeah. Get him. Yeah. Hit her.
No, it's so true. And when you look at transparency, again, that goes back to employing technology, is they have to have accessibility. And again, so many business owners work through mushroom management, right? Feed them shit, keep them in the dark, and hope they grow. And so that transparency, you can employ that technology. You don't have to sit down and hold everybody's hand about how to do this particular thing, this particular way every day. You don't have time for that. That's not working smarter. If you don't have the systems in place or the accessibility to information, transparency will cost you time. And again, I think that's a big mistake that people make. But you also have to understand that there is an investment up front. You're going to have to invest some time, some communication, some training, some education, some empowerment, so people can make decisions based on that.
Yeah. And there has to be accountability there. Like, you have to know what decisions got made and you have to know what the outcomes were. And I mean, that's why we have we have a meeting every day at 11:45, right before the guys go to lunch. It's a fucking FaceTime call with all leadership. I used to be involved in them. I'm not anymore. I told Zach to just handle it. There was no point in me it's all operations, right? But we have our leadership meetings every Monday. I have meetings with Zach pretty much every fucking day. And it's accountability. It's like, okay, what happened throughout the day, good or bad, doesn't matter. I want to know where we're at. I mean, I have my finger on the pulse of the business. I know where we're at with everything. And it's because we communicate, know, and the just even scheduling meetings. Holy shit, dude. Like, that's a fucking big one.
Does Becca do that now? Is she scheduling your meetings or?
Well, so, I mean, we have our ones that are just every week, but we also, Zach handles the schedule. But there's even times where like Becca's like, I think you guys need to have a meeting about this, like, and she'll bring up a point that we're both so in the fucking weeds on shit that it's like, yeah, we need to also be focused on things that are out in front of the business, not what's going on right now.
That's right.
So,
well, to your point on working smart is, if you aren't spending time every week looking forward, you're going to crash into something. And you have to put yourself up at that 10,000 foot view so you can see a little bit forward. Most of us are operators. We like being on the ground and we like being in the shit and around the team, but you can't see that far in front of you when you're doing that. So you have to be smart in understanding that, okay, I need to elevate so I can see what's going on, do a 2-3 week look ahead, have those conversations so you understand what is coming. This gives you the ability to respond instead of react. respond versus react's a huge smarter, not harder type thing. But you've got to put yourself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of smarter too is time ownership. Big piece of time ownership. And I work with a lot of single owner operators, and they work endlessly. I mean, these business owners, I mean, they're fucking animals. They have no problem working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. And
what are you running from, bro?
Well, that's I'm not trying to hurt anybody's pride, but that's not time ownership. Like, we all know that we don't have a problem getting shit done. Whatever we got to do to get it done, we're going to do it. Does not matter. No one's questioning your integrity of follow through. But you have multiple roles to play in this business, and you've got to be so smart about how you're doing that. You've got to be strategic with your time ownership. You have to carve out time in your schedule to be able to remove yourself from the role of operator or employee, and put yourself in the role of business owner and leader, and be able to spend a little bit of time there and look at what's going on. So when you get back into that position of operating, you have some foresight.
Yeah. And I mean, just trying to find time to schedule it in there. Like, it's clunky. It's not the easiest fucking thing in the world to do. Be like, oh, it's we scheduled a meeting, but like, being able to disassociate with whatever the fuck is going on in the interim right now, and then trying to dissociate from that to think about the future when everything's on fire. You're like, God, fucking, why are we talking about what we're doing in 6 months? We've got all these problems right now, And like, dude, I find it comical, some of the meetings that Zach and I have together, because we both have severe ADHD, dude. And like, we'll end up talking about crustaceans in the first fucking 20 minutes or something. And you're like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And so like, it's the blind trying to lead the blind in those meetings. But, we figure it out one way or another. We end up getting back around, but sometimes you need to be able to prime those conversations too, to like extract yourself from the interim, from what's going on right now. Like, find some sort of a buffer zone before you jump into a meeting or a conversation about what your goals are, or what you're heading towards,
Yeah, there's a lot there. Communication, understanding the personality trait of your individual, priority. There's times where you just got to call a meeting, hammer shit out, move and go. But there's also, there is times to do that exact thing. It's like, if you can spend 5 minutes and have a little bit of personal touch to it, and then dive into it. I mean, it is a good way to open up conversation.
Well, and I want to, because we've tried to implement these meetings before, and then we had a really hard time sticking to them. And I think it's because I thought when we had these meetings that I needed to feel great leaving those meetings. Like, we accomplished a bunch of shit and everything got done. That happens maybe half the time. A lot of times these meetings are still shit lingering, or we don't feel as great about what happened in that meeting. And you just have to accept that. And then you have to try and refine your meeting structure past that to get the most out of the time. But I think it's when we don't get that instant result that we expect from having these meetings, that we give up on it. We just fucking abandon it. And you have to realize that they're not going to go perfectly. And that's like kind of a little fucking hurdle you have to get over in your own fucking brain,
Yeah, I agree. I don't remember very many meetings that went perfect that I've had. I still rarely have meetings that go perfect. It's just relevant to the situation.
Right.
So I think that's a good observation. It also humanizes people, and it gives them permission to be clunky, be messy, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's 100% okay.
Yeah. Like, there's a difference between how your house looks before fucking company shows up and how it looks most of the time. Like, it's weird that we want to present our home like nobody lives there. You know, like everything's spotless, everything's in its right place. It's like your fucking house doesn't look like this all the time, motherfucker. You know, but that's like your meeting. Dude, if you can accomplish 75% of what you sat down to accomplish in a meeting, that's a pretty good fucking meeting in my book.
Well, I think having an agenda is important.
Mm-hmm. But you might not be able to squash the whole agenda. That's the thing. Like, if you get 75% of it done, I would still consider that a success. You know?
Yeah.
Like 100% satisfaction. I don't see that as really happening, you know?
Oh, old man sneeze.
Ew.
Oh, God. I think I'm dying.
God, shut up.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, but no, I appreciate this conversation. And for me, I know for me, it's easy to get wrapped up in just doing the work. And I was messing with it before. So this is one of my new smarter, not harder goals moving forward is I don't know how much time in editing this one testimonial because we're getting ready to launch the new coaching website and all the shit. And I'm literally going through and I'm like, I do not need to be doing this. This is a terrible waste of my time. Not only, and it's not that, and this is where I think people have that internal struggle. It's not that I'm too good to do it. It's not that I'm above it. It's just, I have to look at it and go, where am I most valuable in the company? Not doing that. That is not where I'm most valuable in the company. So I've got to get to a point, which I'm at, where I look at it and go, okay, smarter. I got to work smarter at this. I'm working as hard as I possibly can on this thing. I have extinguished my level of hard work on this thing. I don't know how to get any better. So I've got to get smarter.
All the effort is there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
So for me, instead of getting better, I just need to get smarter. And that's a process that's going to end up needing to be delegated and get that off of my plate entirely. Because there's people that love doing that shit. And that's the other part is I don't even enjoy it.
Right.
I just do it because it's what needs to be done.
Right.
Like I don't even enjoy that.
That's the beautiful part about business ownership. It's like you've had your fucking ass kicked so much that the stuff that like you don't like doing, but you do it anyway, you don't even notice that you don't like it anymore. It's just like, just had to fucking do it. So you just like, you become hardened to all the nuanced shit, right? Like,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But, well, I've got a stacked schedule and I know you've got to get some shit done too.
Yeah. I got workouts and fucking valuation meetings and all this other fun shit.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Happy fucking Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day, you beautiful son of a bitch. Thank you. Thank God I had my headphones in for that.
Yeah, right.
I heard all of the spittle.
All the yeah, gross. Dude, it was fucking cracking me up earlier. We were talking, had our little pre-meet, pre-podcast meeting, and you're like, yeah, I spend fucking 90% of my day is in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, with a face like that sucks for everybody else.
Terrible. Again, this is not where I need to be.
Yeah.
But it's got to get done.
Yeah.
And I haven't found anyone uglier that wants to do it. So like, share, subscribe, 99 cents a month, all you want. Anyway, let's get the hell out of here. Go find Nate on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, we're on YouTube at The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.